This is the 16.2 guided practice. We just started SOHCAHTOA, and I'm going to be doing the odds. All right, so all we need to do for these first ones are label the O for opposite, A for adjacent, and H for hypotenuse. So like we were talking about before, one of the easiest ways to identify the hypotenuse right here is just go from 90 degrees and go opposite, or it's the longest side, right? So I can just go through all of these, and I just labeled all my hypotenuses. All right, so then after that, it depends obviously on the triangle. So wherever you start, so this is the angle that I'm starting at. I know that this is opposite of that, and this is adjacent because it's this line, meaning it's touching it. On this one, I start here, so my opposite's here, so that means my adjacent has to be right here. Number 3, start here, so it'd be opposite and then adjacent. I start my angle on number 9 right here, so opposite side, and then this would be the adjacent side. And then for number 5, hypotenuse right here from the 90-degree angle. I start my angle right there, so opposite, and then that means this would be adjacent. 90 degrees right here, so this is my hypotenuse. That's my angle, so that's opposite, and this is adjacent. So pretty easy stuff. All right, so for the second part, we need to actually find out what the answer is. So the first one we know is sine. It gives that in our directions. So sine is SOH, so that's so it'll be opposite over hypotenuse. So we start at our angle right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite over the hypotenuse. So 35 is equal to B over 16. So in my calculator, and I'll just put this right here. Remember, I have to do sine. So sine 35. So I'm going to do that in my calculator. I'm going to type sine 35, and I'm going to get 0.057357, I know that I am going to have to multiply 16 by both sides in order to get B. So I have the sine 35, so that's 0.57 and a lot more numbers. I'm then going to multiply that by 35, and that's going to be 20.1. Oh, let me do that again, sorry. I had the right answer before. So sine 35 degrees, and then times 16 is 9.17, so 9.2. That'd be centimeters. That'd be your answer. Check it, and that's good right there. All right, I'm going down, so 3 right here. So this one's saying that I have to do cosine, so that'd be CAH, so that'd be adjacent over hypotenuse. So I start at my angle, and I'm starting right there. The adjacent is D, and that's going to be over the hypotenuse of 25. So it's going to be cosine 54 is equal to, again, it's adjacent over hypotenuse, so it'd be D over 25. So what I'm going to have to do is cosine 54, and if I want to get D all by itself, I'm then going to have to multiply 25 on each side. So it's going to be 25 times cosine 54 is equal to D. So if I do that in my calculator, I can type all that out if I want to. So 25 times parentheses cosine 54 is equal to be 14.69, so 14.7. So it'll be 14.7 kilometers. Let's check to see if I'm right. All right, there we go, 14.7. All right, I'm gonna go down to number 5 here. So this one's tangent, so that's TAN. And that's adjacent. Oh, sorry, that's not TAN. That's it's SOHCAHTOA, so it's TOA. So that's opposite over adjacent. So start off with my angle right here, and that's 66. So that's going to be tangent 66 is equal to, and then I'm going to do opposite over adjacent. So my opposite is F, and my adjacent is 5 centimeters. You can just put 5 if you want. So then, knowing that I have to get F by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5, and then my calculator is going to look like this. It's going to be like 5 times, and then I'm going to put a parentheses, tangent, so it'd be tangent, and then there'll be another, my calculator has another parentheses, and I'll put in 66, and then I'll end it with a parentheses right there. So technically you could end it with 2, but you don't need to. And then that's going to be equal to F. So 5 times parentheses, tangent 66 is equal to 11.23. So F is equal to 11.2. And that's going to be centimeters. All right, going back to 7 here. 7, we don't know what it is, but we know we start right here, and we have an opposite over, look at that, that's on our hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse. So if I have SOHCAHTOA, so it's SOA, so CAH, or is it CAH? Let me see. I actually have my notes here. So it's SOH, CAH, and TOA. SOH, CA, wow. SOH, CAH, and then TOA. Okay, so this one ends in, I have an opposite over and a hypotenuse. So obviously this one's going to be SOH, so this is going to be sine. So I'm going to have sine 60 is equal to, and then I'm going to do opposite over hypotenuse. So it'll be, I think that's a J over 8 kilometers. I'm going to multiply each side by 8 to get J by itself. So then J is going to equal parentheses, or not parentheses, 8 times parentheses sine 60. That's going to be equal to 6.92. So J is going to be equal to 6.9 kilometers. Make sure you're checking your answers, 6.9 kilometers. All right, then number 9, I know I start here, and I have an opposite, and then if this is the hypotenuse, this would be the adjacent. So I have an opposite and an adjacent. So if I have an opposite and an adjacent, and I go back up, obviously it's going to be TOA, so tangent. So tangent, so tan 33 degrees is going to be equal to opposite, which is M, over adjacent, which is 25. So then I'm going to multiply both sides by 25 to get M alone. Then in the calculator, I'll just do 25 times. Now you could also do this too. You could just do tan 33 and hit equals. That's going to give you a large decimal, and then multiply that by 25 and hit equals. So it'll be 16.23. So M is going to be equal to 16.2 centimeters. All right, and then 11. 11, I start on my angle right here. I know this is my hypotenuse right there. So this, I'm sorry, that's not my hypotenuse, that's the right angle. So the opposite's going to be the hypotenuse. And then I have this line right here, which is the adjacent to this angle. So I have the adjacent, and then I have the H. So going back to before, the only one that fits is the cosine, so CH. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do cosine 48 is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse, which would be 10 kilometers. Let me see if I got this right here. Oh, okay. It could also be. I have. Let me double check here. Let me redo this. All right, so here's my 90. So I know this is my hypotenuse, right? And then this one right here is adjacent. So I have an A and an H. So if I go back, the only one with an A and an H is, so it is cosine, okay? Unless I do, yeah, that's the only one that I believe I can do, because there is no opposite here. So I believe, and I'm just going to go with this, cosine 48 is equal to, that would be the adjacent, which is 10 kilometers, over not 48, what am I doing? P, which is my hypotenuse. Okay, so from here, now I got to multiply both sides by P times P. So cosine 48 so it's going to be 0.7, I believe. I might be doing this wrong. It's equal to, so 0.7 P is equal to 10 kilometers. And then I'm going to divide by 0.7 on each side. So 10 divided by 0.7 is going to be equal to 14.3. So P is going to equal to 14.3 kilometers. Let's see if I'm right, or let's see how wrong I am. Okay, so I'm 14.9. So that's probably because I rounded that decimal. So for example, if I were just to erase what I did so far, and I did this cosine right here, so if I did cosine 48, so that's going to be equal to 0.669130664, right? So I know that I have that, so that's going to be 0.669130606. P is equal to 10. So then what I could do is just do 10 divided by that. So 10 divided by 0.669130664. And that's 14.9. So P is equal to 14.9 kilometers. So I just had to make sure to keep this whole decimal right here instead of rounding it to 0.7. And I get 14.9 kilometers. All right, so these are just some notes from today. If you didn't get these, make sure you get these down. These are important to have. And finally, as always, you can advocate for yourself by email. We can send you a video on any questions that you have. You can go to the math lab. It's open almost every single hour. And then also, you can stop in after school. So come by after school if you have a question. Just let us know you're coming after, or just pop in and see if we're there. More than happy to help. All right, hope you have a good night. Thanks.